You guys, I need to talk. I need you to talk to you guys because I am so freaking miserable. And the fact that it's got to December, like, listen, this is going to be dark because I'm going to do something I don't normally do, which is I'm going to tell you guys the full brunt of exactly what's going on in here and in here. In terms of why I feel so miserable. Like, I don't seem like it to anybody and I've given up. I've actually given up. It's actually crazy. I've actually given up. Like, I can't believe it. I can't actually believe it. Like, I can't even believe I'm saying those words. Like, I've literally got to the point where I've said to God, listen, I've taken my hand off of everything. And if he wants to do anything, it's up to him. Like, I'm like, look, Lord, if you want to do anything, if you want to make anything happen, it's up to you. I'm not working on my business. I'm not doing any of the plans that I had. Well, not for the foreseeable, that I currently had that I was going to do this winter, because obviously winter is my favorite season, henceforth why the misery is hitting harder, because I'm like, there's no way. It's been 12 months of misery. Yeah, so I'm going to tell you guys why this is. I'm going to explain my situation because I really need to talk about this. And I'm like literally before I start work in the day, and I can't believe there's always periods of my life that are like this. Like, I don't know what it is, right? I do believe, honestly, I'm telling lies, because I do believe that it's to do with the fact of, the whole sacrificing thing and like the spirit of death always like being after me, and just misery, and just like that, alongside the fact that I feel like I really am seriously a threat to the kingdom of darkness. Like, and I'm going to explain to you guys what I'm talking about. Okay. So I just need, listen, I need help. I need prayer. I'm not even joking, you guys. The problem with me, as I've been saying to you guys, is when I am in pain, like, I don't look like I am. So no one ever believes it. Like, that's one of the cruelest things. It's one of the cruelest things. Like, I was telling you guys in my previous video about when I fully dislocated my finger, and just because I wasn't crying, the ladies at school were going to send me back to my lesson after I fully dislocated my finger, just because I wasn't crying, even though I told them I was in a lot of pain, Like, I remember, and I was like 6 or 7, I broke my leg, right? And again, because I wasn't like overly throwing myself on the floor, it took a couple of days before my mum even took me to A&E. So I was just there with a broken leg for a couple of days. Like, yeah, so it's insane. Like, people don't, I need you guys to believe me. Like, I need someone to believe me, for goodness sake, right? So I'm stressed. Okay, I know I don't look it. It's like a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because obviously I can pull it off. Like, this is why I'm a high functioning person. Like, I'm high functioning everything. I'm a high functioning depressive person. I'm a high functioning anxious person. I'm a high functioning everything. So it doesn't matter what's happening. I will function highly. That's kind of the other problem, because I know that if I was like rolling on the floor and like unable to get out of bed, that like I probably would get more of the help that I need, and ultimately that therein is kind of where the misery element comes into it. Because as I said to you guys, like last year, the Lord really pushed me. And he was like, because I was quite happy. I've been saying to God, right, listen, this scenario I'm in is exact one I didn't want to be in, right? After I walk away from London, yada, 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 I become alone with the Lord. I'm close with the Lord. Me and the Lord have a nice thing going on, right? And I'm just making my videos. And I really, really want to tell you guys that giving up everything, I'm finding giving up what I thought was everything, and finding out that I have everything in God. I was so content with life like 2 years ago. Like 2 years ago, I was so content with life. I would wake up happy, looking forward to the day, excited. I'll be excited to be praying all the time, reading my Bible. I was excitedly, and I worked on so many projects, you guys. You don't know how, because I was like, I'm going to take everything that I have while I have this time, and I'm going to put all of my ideas into writing. So I've been writing. I wrote a TV series, 21 episodes, the whole thing. 2 seasons, and I wrote a few movies, and I wrote a few book ideas, and I wrote a few books, and and I wrote a few business plans, like, because I have a lot of business ideas. I always be having business ideas like every day. It's overwhelming, right? Really good business ideas. So that's why I'm good at helping people with their businesses, because I'm like, hey, I'm an ideas gal. I always have ideas. Because I'm a problem solver, I always have solutions in mind. I'm a very solution oriented person, right? So yeah, so I've been doing all of that. I've been doing all the writing. I've been studying myself. I've been studying the demons. I realized I've basically become a demonologist. And I remember saying to myself that I wanted to become one like 4 years ago, and now I know them very well. You know what I mean? I've read during in these years, I finally read through the Bible cover to cover. I've done all these studies. I've studied about the entertainment industry. I've studied about pharmaceutical industry. I've studied so much about the histories of the Bible and the histories of the world and other religions and all these other things. I've done my own healing, my own deliverance. I've had to figure out the own things going on in my own life and all this stuff. So like, this is what I've been doing with the Lord, right? It's a lot of knowledge. Herein lies the problem, okay? Because you see the phrase ignorance is bliss. What's the opposite then? Gotcha. What's the opposite? Because whatever the opposite is what I'm dealing with. And like 2024, can I be so for real? Yeah. I was all like, oh my gosh, winning season. I don't even care anymore. Because I just don't even, like, I really don't like this place, this world. I don't like it. I don't like it here. And I know too much. Okay. I know way too freaking much. Like, as I'm trying to like get out of this hole, it just gets more painful. And I feel like it's because my life is surrounded by children. So like, I remember saying this to the Lord, because when last year he was all like, yeah, you need to like open your heart to people. Because I knew that the reason why he was saying this is because I was dulling my feelings. Even when it came to my job, I was dulling my feelings so that I knew that addressing how I was going to feel about the things that I was seeing and having to feel through it as opposed to just think and just do, that it was going to be emotional chaos for me. And boy, has it been. So this year, and I have to say this new job is the one that's pushed me over the edge. That, alongside all the exposés and people waking up for the first time about things that, like I said, I've been praying. Everything that we're seeing this year, these are things I've been praying about for the last however many years. So I'm so infuriated that here was me alone crying at 4 a.m. and to the Lord and praying out to him, right? And I'm thinking, and I'm really hoping, like, you know, and obviously now it's all been exposed. And I'm like, so how many people knew, how many things that they knew, and they would just keep turning a blind eye. They were just doing whatever. And here I am crying to the Lord, because I was saying to God, like, and I've been saying to him for years, that I feel like so powerless. Like, I feel like I have all this that I want to do and all this that I care about, and I have no way of like changing it. And that's why I don't like to think about the children, because I can't live with the thoughts about like what they're going through and the fact that there's so little I can actually physically do, you know. So it really, that's what takes a toll on me, right? So seeing that in the world is one thing, you know what I mean? And then I just have to pray, you know, and trust in the Lord for that. But then seeing it firsthand, like, I'll give you guys an example of the types of things that completely ruined me, right? So as I told you, I've been working with this company, right, that works at the Department for Education. So long and short, in case you haven't heard before, they, middleman, me, teacher, Department for Education, the one who has all of these kids who are not in traditional school for whatever reasons and who are going to be allocated teacher, in order to learn various subjects and in either one-on-one or small groups, right? So I've been enjoying this because I like working with kids one-on-one, because I can help them a lot more than trying to manage a whole class, although I do miss the classroom. And shout out to my kids, the last classrooms that I taught in primary school I was teaching at in 2020, and those kids have my heart again. And again, that's another example. Let me tell you about them quickly, because it's all going to link in together, right? So I remember when I got those kids, when I was teaching those kids at that school, right? I remember that when I was coming into it, like, so I always find out with like unusual routes into jobs, by the way. It's like one of the things that I do. That's why I'm great as a teacher, because I can always be like, what do you want to do? Just tell me where B is. We're at A, just tell me what B is, and I'm going to find out how we're going to get there. Don't worry about if you don't have this. Don't worry about if you didn't do that. Don't worry. Don't worry. I got you, right? So anyways, so I found myself roundabout way teaching in the school, right? In this primary school. And the kids were beautiful. They're so sweet. They were so freaking sweet. I was teaching year 3s and year 5s for 2 classes each of them, and they were so sweet. They were so beautiful. And this is what I'm saying. Now, when I was introduced to these kids, I was told, oh, that school, the kids are just so difficult. They're so talkative. They don't listen. Like, I was told all the negatives. And this is you're going to see this is a recurring theme, right? So this is a recurring theme. So I'm like going into it like, okay, like we'll see, you know, because like I said, I have the attitude. I don't just sit there with the other adults complaining. I'm like, okay, let me give the kids a chance, because we'll see, right? And talkative I can handle. I was talkative at school. So dude, listen, I invented this, my friends. So we can talk. We can all talk. We can all talk forever. I'll out-talk you. So I go to be with these kids, right? And oh my gosh, they were so beautiful. And I only started teaching them towards the end of the year, right? in the lead up to Christmas. So it was about this time, right? And still so many of them bought me gifts, and gifting is not as big of a thing, I feel like, here as it seems to be in the States, just to say. So they get me all of these gifts and everything, and they were so precious. And I remember on the last day before the Christmas break, the year 3 class was going crazy, and they were screaming my name out through the whole school. And I was like, guys, you can't do that, because they had PE after me, and they were chanting my name. Let's envision that my name is Miss, I don't know, I'm trying to think of, I can't think of other words. Miss Apple. They were going, Miss Apple, Miss, like they were chanting. This is 8-year-olds, right? It was insane. I was like, guys, love you too, but you can't do this. And they were so precious. So I'm saying they were so sweet. And of course, you have all the issues you have with kids. You know, one kid would always break his pencil. He's always breaking the pencils. These 2 girls who were supposed to be best friends, but would snitch on each other every 3 seconds. I'd have to give them therapy. I'd be like, girls, you're supposed to be best buddies. You're supposed to have each other's backs. Like, why are we doing this? You know? And so that was fun and funny. And they were very, like, you know, talkative and whatever. And then in the other year 5 class, oh my gosh, one of the days, one of the most talkative, probably the most talkative of all students I've ever taught, right? This young boy, he was so cute, bless his heart, right? And so he stands up in the middle of the class, right? Classic, right? Because he just couldn't stop talking, and he couldn't sit still either, which I kind of relate to. That's one of the reasons I'm miserable doing my job, because I realize more than ever, I need 2 to 4 hours of exercise a day, of physical activity. Otherwise, it's not good for my mental health. And I can't just go to the gym. I need to you know what I mean? I need something with a bit of, there's a reason why I'm doing this, you know what I mean? Deeper than just working out. Like, I need something. Like, I want to take up Taekwondo, actually, by the way. Funny story. But anyway, so yeah, so I'm like, so I'm like that. I'm like, I need to move my body. Like, so part of the reason I'm feeling miserable this year is like, my body is I just feel like a sack of potatoes. I'm not a sack of potatoes. I've actually lost more weight this year, which is amazing. Thank God. Because I said to God, I was like, God, at the very least, if I'm going to suffer, I at least need to lose some weight, like, for goodness sake. Like, please, I can't be like, oh, anyway. So, so that's another thing making me miserable. Also, so I'm just so tired that I can't even do the physical activity. That it's not that I don't have the time, because I always believe if you want to do something, you'll find the time. It's more that the mental space I don't have for anything, not even for myself anymore. That's where we're at in December 2012. And I'm dreading New Year's. I'm dreading seeing everybody cheering about how happy they are to make it to another year. And I'm just like, oh, why me? Oh my gosh. Anyway, especially when there's other people, and here's my defense about that. There's other people who have people who I feel like deserve it more. That's my theory. But anyways, so I'm doing all of this, right, with the kids. And yeah, this kid stands up and he's like, what did I say? I was going to call Miss Apple. He's like, Miss Apple, do you love us as much as we love you? And I was like, I melted. These are the kids I'm being told are so badly behaved. Now, are they very talkative? Yes. But I just match their energy. And I just, talk to them and engage with them. And lo and behold, ta-da! To the extent that the lady who was like my boss, when she came to see me in the class, she actually went red. It was really funny. She was like, I've never seen anybody handle these guys so well, both of the classes. And when I left that job, you will not believe, I didn't even leave on the best of terms. It wasn't bad terms, but it wasn't the best of terms, right? She literally sends me an email from her personal email afterwards. And she's like, I've never seen anybody with in-class and back office skills like you have. If you ever continue to work in teaching, ever need any support in finding a job, I will absolutely help you. And I was just like, what the heck? That's insanity, right? So those kids told that they were bad. I'm telling you that because she's bewildered, and I'm thinking, these kids are amazing. I love them. To this day, my heart is broken. That's why I won't walk back into the classroom, by the way, because I can't cope with the heartbreak. That was 4 years ago, nearly 5. And my heart still hurts, from the heartbreak, because, they're so sweet. And then you get invested in their little journeys. And yeah, So then fast forward now. Yeah, so I've been, I started teaching again, didn't really want to. I don't have any desire to teach, by the way, guys. I have no desire. This is what I'm saying. This is one of the things I've been talking about with the Lord, is in why does my life always be that I'm doing a lot of things that I don't want to do? I happen to be good at a lot of things that I don't want to do. Like that's the point. That's the point. Like I'm good at things that I don't want to do. People find me charismatic and talkative, and like I'm like, but I want to be isolated. You know what I mean? I'm good at teaching. I don't want to teach. The money is pathetic. Like, and now more than ever has my paycheck bothered me. My entirety of my life, I've never been that bothered. And the only reason I'm bothered is because for the amount of stress I go under, I should be able to be I should be able to be off work drinking the most expensive champagne in the world, the most beautiful scenery, whilst I cope with the emotional traumas of this job, right? So here we go. So I know I'm teaching again. I'm teaching my own lessons. And as I'm doing it, because I'm doing a lot of stuff through my own business, right? And this is what I'm saying. My life becoming about kids. So both on and off YouTube. So now on YouTube, obviously, but virtually everything I'm talking about is to do with kids. Because why? Because they're the forgotten ones. And now I'm seeing that this is the real pandemic we have going on here. So I'm learning as I've started teaching again, right? I'm learning certain little things, and because it's through my business, I can do things that I couldn't do when I was teaching in the classroom. Things like, getting the papers back and actually having the time to sit and nitpick through why we didn't do this and didn't do that for different questions in the exams, yada, 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 yada. I now have the time to do that. I now have the time to try different methods that are not the traditional methods. So like all the kids know, all the parents that go through my business know that, by the way, FYI, I use unconventional methods. You're more than happy to be there for the lesson, whether they're in-person lessons or online, because I think there should be an open door parent policy for all schools, that at any given moment, the parents are free to come and check out the lesson and what's happening. That's what I think, because that's what I say. I don't care. Listen, I got nothing to hide. And you're probably going to learn something anyway. You're probably going to have some fun as well. But you're the parent. Like, it's your right to your child's education. That's why I don't care what the freaking government has to say about what they think the kids should do. I care about what their parents think their kids should do. And whatever their parents want me to do with their kids, that's what I do with the kids. And I love that. I like to cut out these middlemen. Like I said, this middleman situation here that I have now, the middleman situation I have in school, they've got all of these curriculums from who knows where and who knows what. And then again, like I said, I'm now coming from years of experience, like literally even because I've been in some form of teaching with the entirety, but for most of my life, you know what I mean? And I've been in some form of childcare since the age of 12. So that's the other thing I've been saying to the Lord, when will I get a break? Because I'm horrified at the idea that I now get pregnant, and then my whole entire life, I never had a section of my life where I wasn't feeling some level of responsibility for somebody. And I'm scared. I'm literally scared. That's why I'm like, God, if it's my destiny to just be a utility, just tell me, literally, just tell me, and stop giving me all these promises, and stop showing me all these things, and stop telling me to open my heart to people. I'm laughing, but on the inside, I'm dying inside. I literally feel like crying. But I'm the personification. If you don't laugh, I'll cry. If I don't laugh, I'll cry. Listen, that's the thing. That's what's funny. That's why I got a bit of extra pizzazz, a little extra sauce. I remember somebody else saying that trauma is great to become funny. Going through stuff helps you to it's character development. You know what I mean? Great materials. That's why I started writing stories, by the way, because I was like, the heck, I'm getting rich off this trauma. I need to get rich somehow. So hey, if there's anybody who wants to write to produce my movies, preferably my TV series, I would love. Anyway, so I don't agree with the system. Basically, I don't agree with nothing about the system. So the more I've studied it now, and this is the problem with me, as soon as I delve into something, I'm going to end up seeing it for what it really is. And I literally am incapable, actually incapable of lying to myself. So if there's a truth that I haven't understood, then I will just not understand. But the second I understand it is truth, it's just something I've always been I just have to respond. It's another one of those things I hate about myself. How I hate that I don't give up. I'm incapable of giving up. And I hate that I just seem to care. And I just hate a lot of the choices that I've made. I hate that I just, I told you guys. Anyways, I'm now looking at stuff and I'm starting to see things for what it is in the system. And I'm starting to see it's not that we've got this little pocket of a few teachers that are problematic and a few maybe bad schools and a few maybe bad kids. It's no, the system itself is completely redundant now. It is not useful. It's not going to help anybody with nothing at all. Like, the system is not, so that's why I hate having, I promise you, I'm so on the edge right now of just like, whew, it will take everything within me not to completely quit teaching, whatever the consequences at the end of this month. It will take everything within me. I'm telling you, because it's like, what am I supposed to choose? This or my sanity? Like, what the heck? So anyway, so I'm doing all of this, yeah? So I'm seeing all of this, and it's starting to break my heart, because my heart's breaking for the parents, the taxpayers. You know, they're going to work, they're doing everything, not the ones, some of the ones I complain about, but the ones who are doing everything they can to provide for their kids. You know, they're going to work, they're trying to, you know, provide, create a good home, all of these different things, paying their taxes, believing, oh, this is going to go towards my child's education. This is going to make sure that the teachers, they got good teachers and good resources and stuff, and that they're learning something that's going to build them up for the skills in this life. And they don't realize this is what's been frustrating me. That's why I started to think about the money element, because I'm like, where the hell are these taxpayers' money going? Like, with this situation I'm in now, these people I'm working with, and I can tell there's something off in the system, because all of a sudden, in this last couple of weeks, all of a sudden my phone's been ringing all the time. Like, oh, can you actually fit in another one? Can we actually add in someone else? I'm like, sounds like we're having some issues, right? Because the system's broken. Because I think people are leaving, and I think everybody's panicking. Like, I think, and I told you guys that this fracture moment was going to come. That if these people this is what the devil does. He takes the mick, and then he takes it too far, and then you get to the point where even the people who are doing it for the love of it decide to leave. This is the first time in my life I've hated my job. It's the first time in my life I've actually woken up hating my job this year. I've been thinking, should I just go back to McDonald's? Because heck, at least I used to get a free lunch there. I used to just only have to do what I had to do. The customers were nice for the most part. Anyways, they're in McDonald's. You know what I mean? Simple as. Type in some buttons, put some food on the tray, bish, bash, bosh. We're done, right? So I'm like, why am I here? Like, why am I here? I'm not being paid. It's not even helping the kids. Because if at least I felt like the system was helping the kids and it was just stressful, it would be worth it. But now it's just like, we're all just here for no good reason. And the only time anything valuable is happening is when I'm going out of my way to do things the way that I do them. And in doing so, hey, people will have their opinions, but it's effective, right? So fast forward now, we're doing this new job thing that I have now. And bearing in mind, all of this is happening while at the very same time, so Diddy's finally been arrested and they're finding boys in the underground tunnels. At the same time, you know what I'm saying? I'm hearing all these stories. I'm even meeting people. I've met even people through YouTube who have gone through things, you know, through the church with, again, the molestation, the treating of the children, whatever. Yesterday, I was listening to these stories from people that have been to war in places like Iraq and Afghanistan. They're talking about how normal it is that they see these other guys there that just, you know, are raping children left, right, and center, young boys, not batting an eyelid, not worried. I'm thinking about how this happens again even in the Catholic Church. Like, why are the young boys always under the attack? And that's the weird thing, because most of the kids I get allocated at this new job are boys, and it's so weird, right? Because every single one of them, it's the same story. It's like every single report, because bearing in mind, I get sent these stupid reports that are what the government has to say, what their school had to say, what their GP has to say, what their psychologist has to say, what this has to say. So I'm getting about 5 different people's opinions of this kid I've never met in my life, or kids, right? And it's always the same story. 8 diagnoses of 8 different things, right? 8 diagnoses, like 8 different things, and then it's can't sit still, doesn't listen, poorly behaved, doesn't focus on the work, all these just things, right? But then we come to the lesson. And these are the things that break me. So when I come to the lesson, I always just start, you know, like we just talk. I like to just talk to them. I find out what they're interested in and I get locked in. So, you know, and I keep locked in with what they're doing and I keep track of what they're doing. It's really ironic. Oh, there's so many ironies, right? So, for example, so one of the kids, like, they're like, oh, he doesn't listen, he whatever. So basically the problem was, right, and he's neurodivergent. The problem is that he thinks he was misbehaving at school because he feels that it's illogical to spend 5 days at school and really they should spend 4. And I was like, he ain't wrong. Like, he ain't wrong. You know what I'm saying? Are we actually going to like deprive a child of an education because they're thinking for themselves critically? And then you wonder why people can't do maths and science. And this is the other funny thing. All these neurodivergent children, supposedly, that I teach, all of them are like stupidly ahead at maths and science. It's English where they struggle. And you know what I've realized? This is one of those things that's now irritating me again. And where I'm just like, this is just like, so we'll be doing things like recently I've been doing like, so we've been doing some like spelling tests recently because I realized that there's an issue in that department for everybody, really, because they stopped teaching grammar in school. That's another thing. Why did we stop teaching grammar in school? Why did we decide to do that? You're sending your child to get an education and they're going to learn all sorts of God knows what about whatever historical events and whatever other skills, but they're not getting the basic grammar for the English that they have to use on a day-to-day basis. And then you're wondering why. Like, this is what I'm saying. It's so illogical. And I remember when they stopped teaching grammar in primary school, because I remember, and you still get evaluated on grammar in secondary school. You still get evaluated on grammar. And I remember, because I was in the guinea pigs, right? Remember I told you guys that I remember the teachers telling us, you guys are the guinea pigs of the new system, right? And so, funny story, in English, I was predicted to get a B. By the way, I don't believe in predicted grades. I think that's ridiculous. I was predicted to get a B in English. I was predicted to get a C in maths. Technically, it's English language and English literature are two separate qualifications, but I did both. I was predicted to get a B in both of English, and I was predicted to get a C in maths. In the end, I actually got A in maths and B's in English language and literature. And do you know what my teacher told me? She said, oh, well, you would have... She was actually a Canadian lady. So she's one of my accents. All of my accents, by the way, are actually based off my teachers. So that's why I have certain accents and not others. Most of my accents you guys hear me do are... I used to... Because like when my teachers are talking, I wasn't really listening a lot of the time because I'd find their accents too interesting. And then I would mimic them to my friends afterwards and we would laugh about it and it would be funny. But anyway... So she used to say, she'd always say this, and she's the reason why I started to hate English, because they would ask questions like, explain how the theme of sadness was explained in the description of the environment that was around the main character, right? And it would be things like, it's raining, it's dark, it's cold, it was quiet, everybody had their, all these different things. And she'd always say, I see where you're coming from. I see where you get that. But no. And like, I'll be like, well, what do you want from me? Basically, that's when I realized that English is such a weird subject, as in like, the skills are not being taught. This is when it was me. This is when it was me. And then she had the audacity to say after the fact, let me tell you guys this, because this is what real life happened to me. She, after the fact, had the audacity to be like, oh yeah, by the way, you could have got A's, but like, if you'd improved on what? Spelling, punctuation, and grammar. So she's like, you could have got A's if you'd improved on spelling, punctuation, and grammar, but you reached your target grade, your predicted grade, so I thought it was fine. Lady, I wanted to get A's. I wanted to be having straight A's. You know what happened with maths? With maths, I was predicted to get a C. I almost didn't even get in to do my A-levels because I didn't have a high enough predicted grade that they almost weren't going to let me do maths at A-level. I ended up doing maths and further maths in the end, right? Well, my teacher did the opposite. She was like, I think you're good. I think you need to improve on this. She would mark extra of my work and everything like that. And that's how I ended up getting an A. So this is what I'm trying to say. Like, and she taught differently as well. She was a different woman. I loved her. Shout out Miss Howarth. Shout out Miss Howarth, right? So I know from experience how like these kids, what they must be thinking. Because for these kids, right, with the spellings and stuff, their problem is the spellings don't make sense. So like, the spellings don't make sense. Because if you guys think about it, we tell kids if they want to say a word, they have to say out the letters. But a lot of words are not written how they sound. I'm trying to see if I can find a good example. Because I've got some of them here from where I was making notes earlier. Where are we? I need a good one. What's a good one? Because a lot of words, if you think about it, if you think about how you spell a lot of words, you don't say it the way you spell it. Or we just don't as adults. So when I'm getting these kids, this is what I've noticed. When I'm getting these kids to do these spellings, the reason why the only time they're having issues with spellings, and I decided this week, because of what I noticed last week, I decided this week with all lessons, my own personal ones and the ones for this other company, I'm going to do them all. I'm going to do spelling tests with everybody because I want to see if this is my science brain. I want to see if this is an issue across the board, right? And across the age groups. Lo and behold, it was. All the spellings that are written exactly as you say the word, they all could do right. Anything that they got wrong was some random rule that they're supposed to remember, right? Or that, again, not necessarily logical, or it's the way that we say it in normal English isn't how the word is spelled. So we pronounce it in a different type of way. Let me find a good example. There you go. Counterfeit is one. Where's my other list? See, these are the things I should prepare for in advance. Sorry guys, I should have prepared for this. I don't even have the answers written here. Anyways, you guys get the idea. You get the gist. Yeah, you get the gist. Sorry, I don't want to get distracted. This video is already long. So anyways, so for me working with these kids, yeah, and me seeing how many things don't actually make sense, me seeing that they're now being given this is what I'm saying. Some of these kids, they've got all these diagnoses, they've got all of this, yeah, and I'm thinking, all it would have taken, because now when I'm doing the lessons, yeah, they don't have to have a break every 5 minutes. In fact, a lot of the times I have to force them to take breaks because they're enjoying the lesson. Even today, one of the new kids that I've been working with as of this week, literally as of this week, he was like, oh, this is so much fun. Doing the math section of the lessons. Because I teach all of the maths, English and science, by the way, which is a lot to be teaching. But anyway, so so I'm like, he's like, wow, this is so much fun. They were having fun. They're talking. They're forgetting that the time that we're supposed to be finishing is up and they're continuing on past the time. They're focused on the task at hand. They're putting in 110%. I'll say to them, oh, if that's stressing you out, we can wrap that up for today. And they're like, no, I want to finish this. I'm locked in now. See what I'm saying? Like, so I'm like, and this is the bit that got me, because they'll be like, oh, he doesn't talk, he doesn't say anything, he doesn't this, he doesn't that. And then, literally, earlier this week, I was bewildered and I broke down in tears after my lesson, right? Because this is what I'm talking about, right? So after my lesson, I was in the lesson, we were working away, yada, 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 yada. And I have the way that I structure my lessons. I do medium, hard, easy in that order of the tasks of the day. The medium task is the one we start with, and probably, something like that. The hardest task is always in the middle, because then if it's too difficult, we can shorten it. If they're locked in, then it's nice to finish easy. And then finishing easy makes the lesson feel like, oh, it wasn't even that long, So that's good. So that's how I structure the lessons: medium, hard, easy, like in the various subjects, right? So we're in the last section of the lesson, and we're just working away, and I'm quite pleased because the majority of what I don't really walk in with a specific target. This is the other thing with these targets. I feel like the targets have to be they have to be vaguer long-term targets versus short-term targets, because they have all this paperwork they want me to do, and this stupid bus stop system, like any learning objective that they're currently working on but still struggling with, highlighted in red. Anyone that you're working on but they seem to be doing all right, in highlight in orange, and anyone that they are completed with, highlight in green. And they want me to do that with all of the learning objectives from all of the kids every single day. No way. Not a chance. Not doing it. I'm not going to do it, because who is it helping? And anyways, oh gosh, I'm not even going to get into how annoying so many of these stuff. The stuff is recorded, so they can go and see the recording. I write out exactly everything that is done, and I have to every single day in the monitoring forms, because they have to be monitored so that the government can check what we're doing, so that the school can check what we're doing, so that everybody can check what we're doing. And now you want me to be highlighting, and so I'm supposed to go back and keep over highlighting all these learning objectives. Not going to happen. It's nuts, right? Anyways, so we're doing the easy part of the lesson, right? And there's a reason why I'm telling you guys all of this, because this is what led to me to just not care, right? We're doing all of this, and then in the middle lesson, I'm just letting them work away, because I'm trying to sit in the middle between me getting to know them and also taking into account from what I've heard, And one of these young guys who says to me, so how's your day been? And oh my gosh, my heart melted. And I'll tell you why my heart melted and why I burst into tears after the fact. Because I got to the point where I am sick and tired of being sent these students and being told every negative word about them in the book, every diagnosis, every reason to cover up for the fact that the adults have dropped the ball. Fair enough if he thinks that, 4 days makes more sense than 5. Why do I have to sit in a chair for 6 hours a day? Good question. Why do you have to sit in a chair for 6 hours a day as a child who should be having a childhood and a beautiful learning experience? That's a fair question. Yeah, why is that word spelt like that when we don't even say it like that? Oh, what are we going to do as adults? Oh, that's just what we all did. That's why society is broken. Society is so freaking broken and everything is broken. And that's why I'm freaking miserable. Because it's just broken. Everything is broken. The adult population, I can't stand. Because it's like everybody is dealing with so much stuff. There's just trauma everywhere we turn, trauma and brokenness. And you know, I've got other videos I'm going to record today, like talking about some other things, right? After I get this off my chest. I'm glad I didn't cry. I thought I was going to cry in this video. So I'm here, I'm dealing with this. I'm being asked. In the back of my head, you got to remember, in the back of my head, right? I'm thinking, okay, so after work, I'm going to record some videos. I'm going to be talking about, you know, this. I have something else I wanted to say about TD Jakes, which I'll talk about in the video, which you guys should watch the next video coming up, because it's the one thing I, of all people, should have said that I haven't even said yet about him, but we'll come to that. And all these things that I've been talking about, and all these things, like I'm telling you guys, like I'm just looking at the world and I'm just thinking, this place is a freaking miserable place. You're telling me people have so much negative things to say about the young people, but my interactions with them are so sweet and lovely. They're so lovely. They're focused. They have ideas of things that they want to do. They have a drive, actually, if you sit and talk to them. Give them enough time, give them enough attention, show some interest in what they're doing. And like, literally somebody said to me the other day, you know, a man of God, and he's the one who helped me to realize why, or like where I would go with my business if I was still working on it, which I'm not touching that stuff. The Lord can do whatever he wants to do. I'm not lifting a finger. The only reason I'm still even doing my job is because I don't want to let the kids down. So if it wasn't for the fact that it was kids, I don't know what we would be doing. I don't know what driving force I would have to go to work, because there's nothing else. It's certainly not the adult population. It's certainly not. I don't even care. Like I've been in that energy with the Lord. I've been like, listen, I'm done with this old, like, oh, you have to be responsible. Like I gave him a little bit of that Cain energy. Like I'm my brother's keeper. Like why do people, do you know the amount of times that people say, you need to figure out, you need to like trust in God because there's people who need your gifts. And I'm like, for goodness sake, the kids need all of our gifts. The kids need our attention. The kids, every corner we look at, everywhere you turn, every country in the world, the countries I come from, the heck, I was a freaking sacrifice. I'm hearing the Middle East, what they do with children, East Asia, America, South America, all these places all over the world, the trafficking, right? The education system, the church, the everywhere you turn, the kidnapping, the social media, and how they're just being left freely roaming unsupervised on the internet. And then we have the audacity as the adult population to sit there and say, we don't know what happened to the younger generation. Excuse me? We don't know what happened. What happened is that they don't have parents. They're orphans. And so many of them, thank God that they do have the parents they do, because so many of the kids, a lot of the kids that I work with, I've noticed, you'd be shocked how much it is actually the little things that the parents are doing that are the reason why some other kids are doing well. Because like I said, I've met mums, like one of the mums that I met literally picked up a second job just to be able to pay extra money for her children to get tuition. One of the other parents I work with at the moment, they are literally selling their house because of issues they've had at the school with their daughter. They are selling the house to move to a different area for the sake of their children. I'm like, people are doing crazy things out here. And I've seen a lot in the last few years. I've seen a lot of things. Like I was doing this other job, I was doing this job, working, looking after kids, right? So I was kind of I was kind of helping them child minding, kind of helping them with homeschooling, kind of doing a lot of whatever's, whatever the kids need. Kids have vast needs. So there was 3 kids, right? One was 2, one was 4, one was 9. Now, gentleman in question is a gentleman that I respect highly. He's very wealthy, and he is one of the very few men in the entirety of existence that actually won custody of his children eventually, all of his kids. So kudos to him. If anybody was going to be able to do it, it was going to be him. Now, here's the situation, because this is the other thing making me miserable, is being a woman. So this woman that he ends up with, long and short of it is, they meet during COVID. At this point, he doesn't have his kids, custody of his kids. He does see them, but he doesn't have custody of them, right? And, at this point, his youngest doesn't even exist yet, bless his heart. So He has a total of 5, but the other 2 are older, and they're older adults, whatever. So he meets this woman. They all have lovey-doveys. She moves in with him, and they're all loving life and loving each other during COVID. And then, because they're older, she obviously doesn't think she's going to get pregnant. I also entered this world because people didn't think they were going to get pregnant. Isn't that funny? So she didn't think she would get pregnant, but she did. I also think she didn't think that he was going to get custody of those kids, and she was banking on it, which is horrific, because I would hope if ever I met any man with kids, I would 100% support him in his custody battle. And I would 100%, anyways, I think it's really unwise if you're meeting a man who has children, you should I think any woman should automatically assume, and like on either side, that those children, you're taking on some level of responsibility of those children, and you should be prepared to do so because they come with that person. So if you're not prepared to do that, then maybe you need to find somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So I think she was just like, that was unwise on her part, because she'll never say it, but I do believe she did, because even the kid that she did have, I feel like she didn't want to. But anyways, I digress. So that's just the other depressing thing. The other depressing thing, can I just say that I'd like to say, is that we were fighting for abortion rights more than we've bothered to fight for like free things for women's health, all the different things we need in terms of periods, menopause, all that. We didn't bother to fight for that. You didn't bother to fight for all free contraception in the United States. No, if we fought for what? For abortion. So I'm saying this, I hate this place. But anyway, so this woman, here's what my job was hired to do. I was hired to go there a couple of days a week. It was actually really nice for me to make some extra money. Go there a couple of days a week. I arrive in the afternoon and I leave. And I would just help them with whatever they needed help with, basically. He owns his own company, his own business. Here's the day structure on a day when I would go with all of the 3 adults, me, him, and her, okay? They wake up. He makes him and his sons breakfast, okay? He then drops 2 of them off at their school, the private school that he pays for, and then the other one at the nursery. He does this, okay? She picks up the youngest around, I don't know, like 1 o'clock or something from nursery, brings him home, takes him to have a nap, at which point I arrive at the exact time he finishes his nap, right? So then I'm looking after him and just doing whatever the heck we're doing, having a fun time, up until his brothers come home from school. In this time, right, so the brothers come home after, of course, their father goes to pick them up, right? Not that she can't drive. It's not like, because a number of times you could tell that he needed to stay a little bit longer, because obviously he runs a business and he's got a lot of people. So he needs to be at work, you know what I mean, sometimes. Or it would be easier, like she's just there, like she's not doing anything. This isn't like and she's doing all this stuff at home to make the home. No. Because even when I would try to tidy up sometimes, like I would clean up after some of the tasks that I would do with the kids, she'd be like, oh, you don't need to worry about cleaning up. The cleaning lady's coming. So I'm like, okay, lady. So bearing in mind, I've already had the equivalent of a full work, 3/4 of a work day before the days that I used to go there. I've already had 3/4 of a work day. So I've come straight from work anyway. So I've already had a work day. Everybody else has worked except from her throughout the day. And here's the other catch, that when she got pregnant, her parents gave a whole bunch of money to her, which she doesn't spend. So all of everything has to be only his money, and her money is her money. This is why I hate being a woman, because we can be so heinous. So I do that. Then when the others come back, she now makes dinner. Okay. And again, nothing crazy. Nothing with a lot, just the most, and there's no judgment there. I'm just saying, I'm just trying to wait for when the day was stressful for her. Meanwhile, I'm watching this man stressed because I can tell. So we're all running around, and she does this thing where, like, if whatever the kids are doing, she'll look at him as if he needs to deal with them the entirety of the time. And I'll tell you when it crossed the line for me, right? Because remember, I stayed till they go to bed. So I'm still looking after at least one or more. And for me, this is nuts because, like, hello, I've held a classroom with 25 kids. I've looked after multiple kids in these types of contexts before and had to do all these different random chores like cooking and looking after the house and things like that. So to me, it's not, she's far from the most, she's anyway. So, and mostly they play outside when they get there because they got all a bunch of stuff outside. They got trampolines, they got ball pits, they got every single sports you can imagine. They got football goals, basketball hoops. They got it all out there in that garden. So I'm thinking, what is this woman doing throughout the day? But then she seems to act like she's the most stressed of all, of everyone. I'm still there. Then there was this one day, and this for me is a picture of why I actually feel like I'm scared that I'm just destined to be just overwhelmingly selfish as a woman, right? One day we were sitting there at the table eating, and one of the kids, the youngest, he like flings his plate of food onto the floor, which, hello, children 101, they're reckless. I love it. I love the reckless nature of kids. That's actually my favorite thing about them. I just love that they're just reckless and they just don't care, you know? And that's why we have to create the boundaries, because otherwise, you know, because like even that, their youngest, me and him used to go to they have a really lovely area around there. There's like a lovely little river and near the park, whatever. We used to go there. And this kid used to run full speed straight towards that river. And I'd be like, sir, you cannot run into that. You cannot run there. Oh, gosh. But, you know, I love kids. So I'm saying they're just so innocent. They don't know any better, you know? And, this is why I didn't want to entertain the kids thing, because, when I say entertain the kids thing, I mean, I didn't want to have to really, like, feel how I feel about it, because it's just too much. So, oh, gosh. So, yeah. So he flings the food onto the floor. And then, so she obviously looks at him. And I was thinking in my head, I was thinking, I know you are not about to ask this man in his, like, smart clothing, who has just been working the entire day and has been doing everything and has been listening to you, asking for this after this after this after this after this, and who needs him to do this or to get to ask me to come an extra day so you can organize the crafts cupboards for the kids and little things like that, right? I know you're not about to ask him to pick that food up off the floor. I know you are not. And so she did. And I was like, I wasn't having it. So I just got down. I was like, oh, no, it's fine. I did it graciously. No, it's fine. I'll do it. Because I'm not about to stand here while the grown man who's paying for everyone to be here, this house and everything that's happening here, I'm about to watch him get on the floor and pick up the food. It's not going to happen. I'm not about to it's not, I got down and I cleaned the food myself. Even washing the dishes. After the food, whatever, they'll be doing whatever with the kids. One's in the bath. He's hanging out with them because he'd actually love to hang out with the kids, which, like, of course, great, fantastic, you know? I mean, that should be surprising, but it is surprising these days because so many parents are just like, oh, can't wait to throw them off to school. Oh, can't wait for them to go to bed. Like, don't even want to really spend time with the kids. So it's nice when I see, like, he really spends a lot of time with them. So while they're doing all of that, I'm like, oh, well, if you're looking after the kids, I can, like, help with the house chores, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I'll go wash the dishes. I don't mind. You know, I've been washing the dishes since I was 11, like, every day. Since I was 11, it was my chore. So I'm so used to doing the dishes. I'm so overwhelmingly used to doing the dishes that I just don't even, it's one of those things that it can never become an argument for me with anybody in any context because it's just done. I've been doing it every day since I was 11. Like, it's fine. You know what I mean? So I go to, I'm like, I'm gonna go. She's like, no, he can do it. And I'm like, and this is what I'm saying. Like, it's these little, like, so why is she so, like, anyway, all to say, he did end up suffering some severe health issues, by the way, which I could see because he was literally of that whole entire day, maybe 30 minutes in the evening, maybe while I was there with the youngest after the other two had gone to bed, to read his book. And I would leave at 9 or 10, like 10, when they were about to go to bed. So then that whole process of everything I just described from the morning was about to start again. Not to mention the fact that they got a young one. So I was just like, bro. And then this is also what taught me, I hate to say it, that men are really just, I don't understand men. Like, we're going to leave that there, that thought. But yeah, so that woman, and even today, oh my gosh, one of the kids, like the cat, right? And it's reminding me why I hate cats, because cats remind me of women. And I feel like as a woman, it's just, it's like we can't help but becoming these selfish creatures. Like, these are the things, like, listen. So this cat, that was when one of the kids today, because this is the first time I've had a kid that has a cat, and the reason I can tell this is the first time I've had a kid that has a cat because the kids that have dogs, the dogs listen and the dogs stay where they're supposed to be. But this cat, it was to the point where I was actually gonna have to, like, speak to the child's mum, because this cat was doing everything. This cat was throwing everything down, walking all over the paper, picking up stuff, biting his ankle, jumping all over him, like just all of this attention. Every time he would put this cat over there, the cat would come running back. And I was thinking, I keep saying this, why do we put up with cats biting people, but then when a dog does something, it's a problem? This is what I'm saying. It's the difference between society and men and women. And I don't want people to make excuses for to tolerate bad behavior from me. That's another thing. So that's my other stress. One of my other stresses is just like being a woman, like, and also just being a woman. Hello, this menstrual cycle malarkey is insanely horrific. And this year I've developed worse symptoms, especially now because my period pains have gone because I prayed them away. Now I can feel all the other things that happened that I didn't notice because I was too busy feeling period pains. And it's the ghetto. So now I'm like, I'm going to have to do this forever. Like, it's never going to stop. Even the other day, I was like having a conversation with my mom about menopause, and I was just like, it never ends. This roller coaster of hormones, it never ends. I'm already so then there's that, you know what I'm saying? And then also just the idea that this is all to do with children again. So I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, miserable. I'm just like, I feel like there's so many things going wrong. There's so many things wrong with me that I feel like I've been doing all this healing and deliverance, and for what? I still have so many issues, an overwhelming amount of issues. You know, there's so many things going wrong with the kids, and I feel like other than you guys, I feel so alone in this fight. I feel like people just don't seem to care enough. And that's what's making me sad, because people say you shouldn't, you know, stress too much or whatever. But I'm like, that's not going to happen, because that's a place of privilege. We're supposed to look after them. And we're just deciding to do what's convenient for us. So it's easy for you to tell me about how much you want to do with this and how much I should just let it go. But like, the kids are the ones who are being left behind. And that's what's frustrating me. And that's what's upsetting me, because I can see it everywhere. And the more and more we turn a blind eye, and the more and more we choose convenience, the more and more we see the suffering. And it is overwhelming for me. I can't cope with it, because I know what the things that I've been through, how it's affected me, and it's affecting me as we speak. And so, and things, I'm better off than a lot of kids today. I'm far better off than a lot of kids today in a lot of areas. So for me to just see all of this, and there's no way of getting away from it. There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to even run to. I feel like that's why I feel like I just like, oh, you know what, God, forget it. Forget it all. Like, I'll just give up, because there's only so much I can do. And I'm now at the point where I don't even have the energy to look after myself anymore. The only reason I'm even able to show up to the job is because I don't want to let the kids down. And that overrides anything else, always. Always has. Because my motherhood instincts were unlocked prematurely. That's another thing that I'm overwhelmed by. Because I'll never know what it's like to switch from like, okay, this is me looking after myself and just thinking about myself, to now I need to be responsible for other people. I'm just like, used to everyone. And so when people try to tell me not to care, it's like, no, you can't do that. And I actually remember exactly when my motherhood instincts were unlocked, because I remember that's when I stopped sleeping. Because I would start to hear everything that would happen. I'd start to be hyper conscious and sensitive to everything that everybody had going on around them. And so now I feel like, it's just been too much. You know what I'm saying? It's just been too much. So yeah, anyways, guys, that's what it is. So that's what it is. I don't know what to do, you guys. You guys tell me what to do. Like, I'm just telling you that, like, I can't anymore. It's too much. And the only thing I can do that I feel comfortable and happy that I can do is make videos. Because at least if people are people are learning, and people are hearing, and people are being informed, at least I feel like I'm doing something. You know what I mean? But other than that, I'm just so disinterested. I'm not interested. This is why I haven't been talking. I'm not interested in doing anything anymore. Nothing. I have no goals. I have nothing I want to achieve by the end of 2024. Nothing I want to achieve in 2025. Nothing I want to achieve in this life. I don't want to have children. I don't want to be married. I'm just about entertaining friends, but I'm still working on that one. I don't want anything. I don't have any goal. I don't have any dream, desire, drive, nothing. Nothing. All I have is obedience, because God loves me, and because he loved me the way he loved me. And that's the crazy thing. Because I see the way that God loves me, I know what it's like when somebody loves somebody as a child properly. So I know from my experience with God. And that's what horrifies me even more. Because I'm like, if you knew what God put up with for me to become who I am, you wouldn't do half the things he would do. Not to say that you should, but I'm just saying that's what's insane. Like, knowing what God does for me to be the woman that I am, and how he's got my back and everything. That's why I can leave it to it, because I'm like, you know what, God the Father, there you go. If you want to help, I as your daughter, I need a nap. I need a break. And I'm done. Like, I can't. If you want to guide my path somewhere down a particular road or something, go ahead. But as far as right now, I'm done. So I hope that's not too depressing. Please share if any of you guys are going through anything, because I'm going through it, you guys. If I didn't have you guys to talk to, I don't know what I would do. So I'll leave it there because I don't want this to be too long. I love you guys so much and I appreciate your support. Please pray for me. Like, I'm not even joking, because this is just too much. This is exactly the reality I didn't want to be in. Anyway.